of Minecraft Walkthrough 132, your host, and the series that we have. Sorry, I had to turn down my phone. So, anyways. Last time we left off, we talked about the fish. So, yeah. And, in this episode, we're going to continue to talk about the fishing section of this game, but we're also going to branch out a little bit more on the exploring part. Like I said in the last episode, exploring is actually out of a certain resource in the area that you're in, or if you need to or if you don't have one, or if you just need more area to to expand. By this I mean, let's say you're running out of room to build stuff. Like let's say you're building a house that's like a giant mansion that spans across half the map. Well, not half the map, but you get my point. You're gonna need to explore a little bit so that you know the perfect place to build this. You're gonna need for that you would need a lot of flat land. So, yeah. So, it's getting dark. To be honest, I think I'm going, for this episode, talk a little bit about fighting mobs. I know I've already talked about this, but I only told you how to fight mobs. This time I'm going to show you how to fight mobs. By the way, if you ever see me running around in the series doing nothing, I would not recommend doing that. Every second in this game is important. You need to use all of your time. The only reason why I'm doing this is because once again, I will say this, and I've repeated this several times throughout the series, it's just a walkthrough. And seeing as it's just a walkthrough, I really don't have to do too much in focusing on one objective, unless I'm talking about one certain objective which is an objective that I have to show you how to do. So what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna stand on top of this tree. Reason behind this is the fact that it gives me a bird's eye view. So what I'm gonna look for is maybe a zombie, a skeleton, something. As you can see, my fishing cabin's over there. By the way, no enemies spawn in light. I talked about that in around episode 3 to 4, I think, where I explored the caves a little bit. So, no enemies will spawn over there. They're just going to probably spawn around here. Oh, there's a creeper. Actually, the good thing about, if you wanted to know the good thing about staying on top of trees, it's that you can use your bow and arrow to snipe. As you can see, there's a little animation to tell you how far you've pulled back, and there's a perfect hit. And there we go. Now all I have to do is go collect the resource that he dropped, which in this case is gunpowder. By the way, if you saw that giant figure standing off in the distance, that's an Enderman. Yeah, I've been meaning to show one off for the past while now. Finally get to do that. And of course, there's his gunpowder. So, where'd he go? Oh, he went away. Yeah, they can teleport, but if you saw him, I think he was there. I can't remember. But yeah, he's a tall black figure with purplish eyes, and he can take one block at a time. To be honest, I would recommend looking out for these Endermen, because there's one thing about them. If you stare them in the eyes, then they will chase after you and teleport all around you until eventually they manage to kill you. Yeah, it's a little bit of a hard tactic to get down, and seeing as I haven't played in a while, it's kind of hard to do the jump forwards, jump back tactic on the creeper. There's an example of the zombie's attack pattern. He basically just walks forwards, and if he gets too close, he gets a hit on you. So yeah. As you can see, there's an Enderman. And as you can see, he just took a block. I definitely do not want to stare him in the eyes at this point in time. And he can place blocks back down, so that's another thing about Endermen. Yep. So yeah, they can be dangerous, but they're also pretty neutral unless you look them in the eyes. By the way, I've accidentally looked in an Enderman's eyes once, and yeah, it doesn't matter. He'll still chase after you. And there's no real way to escape him because of one reason, and that reason is the fact that he can teleport everywhere, so it's kind of hard to escape him. So I'm gonna go in here. No enemies can detect you in buildings. Well, they have a harder time detecting you. This is the gunpowder I was talking about in earlier videos. I'm gonna show some crafting recipes where you can use these. Once again, like last time, I have to find where they keep the TNT because I can't remember where they put that. Of course. Yeah, this is definitely not. Wow, that's not good. I can't find it. Huh. Well, let's see. Can I find any other recipes that use this? I don't think there actually are. Oh, great. Oh, there they are, of course. But yeah, here's the crafting recipe for TNT. As you can see, I only have 1 gunpowder. So, I can't really craft this because I need to get 5 gunpowder and 4 sand, which the sand, like I said, is easy to get. Gunpowder, on the other hand, not so much. As you saw, out of those 2 creepers I killed, only 1 of them dropped gunpowder. One thing you always have to look out for when exploring in the middle of the night is, actually at any time, because creepers can survive in daylight, is are creepers. You cannot take your eyes off of every pixel in this entire world because of one thing. The design of the creeper is meant to be camouflaged. Everything except for its face is a shade of green. So in other words, you have to pay really good attention to where you're going, or else you'll run into one of these by accident and get yourself killed. Most of the time they can actually get a one-hit kill on you, so that's something you need to be aware of. I'm trying to find some more enemies to talk about and show. I know there is I saw a witch earlier, which is one of the, is another mob. I remember talking about them in the video where I talked about biomes. I think that was around episode 6 to 7. So, yeah. So, yeah, in this episode, I'm probably gonna make a lot of references to earlier episodes because, in earlier episodes, it was very common for me to mention mods. So, yeah. From what I remember, yeah, I saw the witch on the other side of this lake. It's getting nighttime, but yeah, there was a witch on this side of the lake, right beside that tree. Before I ran off, killed that creeper, went over here, fought another creeper, won, and then made the third one explode. I actually saw a witch over there. Witches look kind of like villagers, except for one thing. They're more grayish, and oh, by the way, there's string. I've already talked about the spiders, so I don't really need to mention that. And also they wear black hats that kind of represent, the Halloween witch hats, And, basically they're dressed in all black. And, also they have one, if I remember correctly, I think I can't remember what it's called. Oh, crap. They have a mole on their nose or whatever. Yeah. So, oh my gosh. Those are some of the different features between villagers and witches to identify between the two. I would always be well aware of this because if you kill a villager, then you lose whatever trade options you had with him, and the chance of another villager having the same items that he had aren't very likely. So, in other words, just try to remember that. By the way, this is a llama. I've talked about them previously, but yeah. So, yeah. So I've basically seen and showed you and talked about every single enemy now, and I fought a few of them. Some of them I'm not prepared to fight right now, so yeah. I've definitely fought skeletons on several occasions. That's why I kind of backed down from fighting the other ones and all. Not to mention I got a bow from one of them, which, by the way, I think there was a recent update which made it more... Oh, actually, no, I think that wasn't a part of the... No, it wasn't. Yeah, but apparently there's a rare chance, and somehow that I managed to get it, but there's a rare chance a nearly full with bow from a skeleton, and apparently I got lucky enough to get that in this playthrough. And the thing about that is this isn't gonna be a complete the game playthrough. So yeah, if you manage to get that, then good job. Actually, I'm not sure if that's a part of the recent update. But anyways, I think I'm gonna talk a little bit about, seeing as we're on top of this mountain, I'm gonna talk a little bit about them. I know I've talked about them in my biomes video, but it was only a short section of it, and I didn't really explain it too much. Although I did go kind of in depth on what you can find there on the features. But anyways, so a mountain can kind of be, it's kind of hard to describe the length of mountains. Sometimes they can be really long, like this one. It's almost like it's like a giant hill, and there's a valley. Actually, it's exactly like that. And this stretches on for a long time. Not to mention the highest, but the one thing about mountains that you need to remember is about 99% of the time, they're gonna have a high peak. And the good thing about going to those is that if you go on top of them, then you have a very likely, then you can have a really, it's really easy to go up there and build. The reason is not only are you on top of an entire resource pile, because mountains, like I said in the biomes video, are completely filled with ores and materials. The only thing you'll have to worry about is wood, and even then, chances are you could just build a staircase and go down and then get wood from the nearest river, like here. So if I was to build a house up there instead of over by that lake, then I might actually have to build my farm somewhere else. That's one thing that you'll have to remember. If you're going to build a farm, try to stay away from a mountain house, because a mountain house makes it harder to maintain a farm and get food from there, maintain a fishing area, and a constant source of wood at the same time. One thing I would think you would want to do, but even though this might take a while, is try to get all of those resources on top of the mountain. This mountain is a little bit too small for that, but I bet like one of those mountains over there that you can see off in the distance would be perfect for building a housetop civilization almost. Because all you have to do is get enough iron to make a bucket or two, get some water from a nearby lake, bring it up here, dig a small little area, and then you put water in that. And not only can you farm around that, but you can also fish around that. So yeah, that's the good thing about it. But there's one thing about mountains that you will have to remember. Water isn't exactly the best thing to put on top of a mountain. For example, all of the snow, yeah, that's not too good for water, because the snow, basically it's so cold up here that it will freeze over all of the water in a matter of seconds. So I would recommend building on lower elevations where it's not as cold. The other thing you might want to try to bring up here, it would be a tree. So, like I said, I've been collecting samplings, like this one. Here's an oak sampling. So, let's say I wanted to place an oak sampling on top of this mountain. I'll place it there, and I'll probably come back later, and it will have grown into a full-sized oak tree. But anyways, yeah, that's pretty much all about a mountain house. Once again, I would not recommend it if you plan on building a farm and maintaining a farm and fishing at the same, both at the same time, because that will just make it harder to have your house on. Having your house on top of a mountain would just make those two things harder. But anyways, thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed, and please remember to like and subscribe. I will see you next time.